Welcome to Horror Franchise Wednesday. Let's talk about Return of the Fly. Now, I don't have a whole lot to say about this, so this is going to be very short and sweet. Maybe not sweet, but definitely short. This movie came out exactly 1 year after the first one. This came out the summer of 1959, and I thought that was more of a 80s thing where producers and shit saw the success of a movie and were like, we gotta get a sequel out next summer, next Halloween or whatever. But they were doing that shit back in the 50s. They're like, oh my god, The Fly, this is a huge hit. It's got 95% Rotten Tomatoes. We gotta make a sequel. We gotta get it out by next summer. I'm sure that's what they said because, Rotten Tomatoes, they existed back then too. This movie is a drop off, definitely, for sure. This one, it's basically the same movie, but a lot more corny. And it's got 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's a drop off from 95 to 35. And yeah, this one tells the story about the son Philippe from the first movie. He's now an adult and he's trying to carry on his father's work. And, he rebuilds the machine and then shit goes wrong. Once again, history repeating itself. And I was wondering going into this movie, like, how are they going to explain how this is happening all over again? How is this son going to make the same mistake? You're telling me it's going to happen all over again? What a coincidence that is. I mean, seriously, what is up with the fly problem in this household? I've lived in this house for like 2 years. I've never seen one housefly since I've been here. But this mansion that this person lives in, and it's not even the same place. This is a whole different place. Every place this family goes, there's houseflies everywhere in every scene. It's fucking ridiculous. But I was wondering, going into this, how is it going to happen again? And I guess it makes sense why it happens again, but it still feels forced. It feels so forced how to get this shit to happen again. The writers were like, all right, how's it going to happen again? Well, this guy's going to knock him out and throw him in the fucking machine. And then, oh, here a housefly, grab it and then throw it in there as an extra fuck you. Because originally he was just going to flip the switch, I think, and just make him disappear because that's an option now. You don't have to make them teleport no more. You can hit a switch and they just kind of disappear and they're lost in some other dimension, some other realm. I don't know. Not a scientist, but no, he's like, oh yeah, extra fuck you. I heard about what happened to your dad. Maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't. But if he did know, extra fuck you. Fly. Now you're half fly. Like, what an asshole. It was so forced, and it made me laugh out loud. Like, he didn't need to do that. He did not need to do that, but he took the extra step to turn this guy into a half fly, half human. And yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. What I like about this movie is that it actually has good continuity. You know me, I always like having good story and especially set continuity where they go to the same place. Like you see the same laboratory from part one, except now it's more dilapidated. It hasn't been touched and cleaned for over a decade. There's cobwebs everywhere, but it's the same place. It's got the same chalkboard with the same algorithms and formulas and scientific shit on it. It's even got the I love you thing on there that he was writing in the first movie. And then you have the cast coming back. You got Vincent Price and the people who couldn't come back, they just murdered. This movie starts at the funeral of the mother, so obviously she wasn't going to come back. And now we have the son from the first movie who's now an adult, more my age. I think he's in college or whatever. And, Vincent Price is still kind of looking after him. He's the father figure now. And they still have that bond together, kind of, that they had in the first one. And I like that. I like that continuity. So the first, third of this movie, I was like, all right, this is promising. Let's see where this goes. How are they going to, expand on what they set up in the first one? What direction they're going to take it? Are they going to improve where the first one kind of lacked? Are they gonna better some aspects I didn't care for in the first one? Are they gonna have a reason for this sequel to exist? No. This movie downgrades. I mean, that's all I really like about the movie. The acting is solid. It's got solid acting. Not much to say there. I mean, it's 1950s acting, but Vincent Price is here. He's good. I don't have a whole lot to say, but negatives. Yeah, this movie is just the same fucking movie, and it just feels forced why it's happening again. I get he's trying to continue his father's work, but the fact that this guy, he hires a criminal, and he wants to take the invention for himself and get the money all for himself, greedy and blah, 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 typical motivation. He knocks him out and then throws a fly in there. Why would he do that? It's just silly. And what's also silly is the fact that this movie's showing you these ridiculous, corny images of half flies and half hamsters or whatever, guinea pigs. Uh, and then there's like intense music over it, like it's supposed to be terrifying. It's not. It wasn't terrifying the first one. It's not terrifying this one. When you see this cop, he has like gerbil hands and feet. And I like how in this one, for some reason, it's like instant. Like when the guy turns into a fly, it's instant. Like his head is a human head on the fly, whereas in the original, it took quite a while for the doctor to have his head manifest onto the fly. And I don't understand why. Now, I don't understand why they need glasses. It doesn't seem to hurt their retinas when they're inside the box itself getting turned into a fly. It's not like when he gets turned back into a human, his retinas are fucked up, so the glasses just seem pointless. I'm not sure why they're wearing it. It doesn't do shit. And so yeah, it's just got corny effects. It's redundant, the whole story. Like they repeat a lot of shit from the first one. The way the story's told isn't as intriguing, doesn't pique your curiosity like the first one does, where you see someone in some device crushing them and you're like, what the hell happened here? Like this one doesn't have that intrigue. The way the story plays out, it's just kind of boring at times. And I just don't care. Like this movie's so short too. It's like 80 minutes long, so there's not really a whole lot of time for like characters. Like they introduce like this French cousin or something, and there's no point to those characters at all. Like you could have just had him in the basement from the first movie, would have made just as much sense. Like it, why not just continue the work there? I don't know, but who are these people? The French people, they do nothing, absolutely nothing. And I guess they couldn't bring back the inspector from the first one who ends up like squashing the dad with the rock. But and so instead they introduced this new inspector. Like he has a, I looked it up. It's not the same inspector. The name is different. But Vincent Price acts like he's the guy from the first one. He's like, only he will understand because he's seen what I've seen. But it's not even the same guy. So that kind of bugged me. It's like, yeah, it's not the same actor, but you could have just said it was the same character, right? Just be like, yeah, it's Inspector so and so from part one, but we couldn't get the actor back. I don't know, that's a nitpick, but still, it's just kind of bugs me. And the ending of this movie is just very quick and it's just not satisfying. It's not dark like the first one. The first one's dark and then it's happy, which is what I like about it. It's like something very fucked up just happened. Someone just lost their father, and now they're just walking off into the sunset and they're all happy, and it's weird. In this one, it's just a happy ending and it doesn't do shit to me. Like I have no connection to these characters because like I said, it's 80 minutes and all of it is just like science experiments and shit. They test on gerbils and shit that they don't have emotional connections to, like the dipshit in part one testing on his cat. I thought that was really stupid in part one. It's like, why would you test on your cat first? In this one, they corrected that. And the first thing they test is gerbils and hamsters and things that they don't love. It's not their pet, so that makes more sense. But yeah, I mean, it's just a very weak, rushed script. It's just like, all right, we need to pump another movie out. We'll do the same things that we did in the first one. The person gets turned into a fly. You hear the squeaky, help me, help me. And it still makes me laugh. It's not scary. It doesn't age well. And the effects of the fly head are worse. Like they try to make it bigger. I guess that's how they're improving on part one. Like his head's bigger now, and now he has a foot. That's a fly foot instead, and a fly arm. So we're gonna add that in the mix now. It just looks worse. It doesn't look as, I'm not gonna say as good as part one because I don't think part one's good either. I mean, it's hard to review these older movies because they age so poorly to me and they don't scare me in the slightest. But I guess they scare some people because this guy in the back here said, "This is the stuff I wish nightmares are made of." I disagree, but yeah, the first one I can see why it's a classic. It actually paced pretty good for a 50s flick, and the acting was okay there except for the kid. The kid's horrible, and it was all right. I recommended it. I can't recommend this one. So yeah, final thoughts. This one is just corny as hell, redundant, does the same shit as part one, but in a less intriguing way. The pacing is a little slow. Despite the fact that it's only 80 minutes long, I still just felt myself just slowly losing interest in this movie once all the science experiments shit started, and I realized that they were just going the same direction. They weren't doing anything different. It's just the same movie. If you want to see this concept done better, go check out the first one. When it comes to Return of the Fly, I don't recommend this. Skip it. It is wasted time. Alright, spoiler discussion. This is going to be way quicker than my spoiler-free review, even though it wasn't really spoiler-free. It's 60 years old. If you haven't seen it by now, I don't think you ever fucking will. And so, let's just fly through this. I don't want to talk too long. What I thought was really stupid is that as soon as Philippe finds out that his father was killed as a fly and shit, when he finds out what happened, he all of a sudden just has this, like, crippling phobia of flies. When he hears them, he, like, cowers and it's like, come on, it was just so silly. That was really funny. Like, really, how did what's his face Philippe, when he became a fly, how did he know to go to that one funeral home? He saw the guy who later double crosses him and shit. He saw him leave there, and that was convenient as fuck. Like, why was he driving by there? He's like, oh, what are you doing in this part of town? Like, they just cross paths very coincidentally, and then he just knew once he became a fly, well, obviously he's working for somebody there. I'm going to go kill whoever he's working for there, even though I don't have 100% confirmation that whoever is there working there is trying to double cross me too and is working for him, or he's working for, like, he went and just snapped some guy's neck who works at a funeral home, some mortician. He never got confirmation that did he? Maybe. I don't know. He never got confirmation, as far as I know, that that mortician was evil and was also trying to rip him off and steal his invention and shit. Like, how did he know to go there? How did he know that that guy was bad? Just curious. And I didn't know this movie took place in Canada, but apparently it does. There's a store that says Montreal. And so, yeah, the mom's dead from part one, and I think they brought back the guy from the opening of part one who witnesses the murder. It's the same character, but I don't think it's the same actor. Then, like I said, he throws him in the thing, turns him to the fly, and now his head's even bigger, but it has less movement in the face. Like, there's less, like, actual, like, facial movements. Like, in part one, the thing was, like, moving around, and this one, there is no movement really at all. And so, yeah, the cop, they're chasing him away, the fly. Once he turns into the fly, they're chasing him around. They fire, like, over 6 shots at him. And then later, like a couple scenes later, the cop goes to Vincent Price and he's like, if blah, blah, blah doesn't happen, I'm going to have to order my men to shoot him on sight. It's like they're already shooting at him on sight. As soon as they saw the fucker, they're shooting every round at him. So that was just stupid. Yeah, that's really about it. Yeah, the glass door he breaks, but then somehow later on it fixes itself, or they fix it somewhere in between scenes. We didn't get to see it, but when he first breaks out of that thing as the fly, he clearly shatters the glass door. But then when they put him in it later to turn him back successfully, I might add, which was shocking. Yeah, the door's all back in one piece. The glass is back, and yeah, so somebody fixed it. And even though he turns himself back into a human successfully, happy ending, they just roll the credits and they just kind of leave the whole police investigation thing open. Like, okay, they're still out for him. The cops are still looking for him. They're firing at him. They know who they're after. He killed a mortician, and then he killed his colleague who was trying to double cross him and shit. Like, he still murdered a couple people. He's got questions to answer. But yeah, so whatever. Silly movie, just not my cup of tea. Never gonna watch it again. But what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Return of the Fly? Should have been called Son of the Fly, really. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button. I really appreciate it. And become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.